My name is Toria Proctor, and I am an instructor at TechKnow and one of the 5 co-founders. And I'm going to present to you my 3D printing summer series. I've got 12 3D printing classes, a different class for each week of the summer. And all these classes are for people that don't know anything about 3D printing. You can come on in, take these classes, and start learning so you know a lot and you can empower yourself. I spent several hours with each program learning it. So when you come in, I'm going to give you 30 minutes of the best that I've learned. So it'll be essentials, navigation, how to import files, export files, and then it'll be all the tricks that I've learned. And I'll focus on useful things. I don't want to waste your time teaching you every single button if you don't need every single button. I picked, the software that I picked for these classes is free, and it's really good software. So if you really enjoy it, you can go home if you're fortunate to have a computer and download the software so you can work at home. Or you can get a membership at TechKnow, which is super cheap. It's $20 a month right now, and you can come in and use our computers and then 3D print them while you're here. Or 3D print them, start them up, leave, come back at your convenience. So I'll talk to you about my first class, and I'm going to show the people here instead of just use my words. First class was on Cura, and Cura is slicing software. It's what you need to get your 3D model to the 3D printers that are over here to the side of the room. And I'm going to show you some of the tricks real quick, and in this very fast video. I couldn't have spent 20, 30 minutes showing you Cura, and it wouldn't have just been a Cura class, but my presentation tonight is a little bit about every class that I do. I think our new plan is we're going to run a wire to the projector.
It has nothing to do with that.
And hardwire it.
Down here.
Is this? Did I bump it?
I don't know. We'll find out in a second.
Dude.
Literally, I think you should hit play on this video and talk quick.
Okay, and not touch the table. I'll do that. It's only 49 seconds long.
That's good. If you don't make it through, just keep talking, and I'll overlay it, and we won't know the difference.
Okay.
Only these people will. You could all come up later and watch it over your shoulder.
Now I'm recording, I could talk more about the digital classes.
I need a hammer.
I'll do that. So Alchemy, the class that's offered this Friday at 10 a.m., it's a tool for brainstorming and creativity. You can draw with sound. You can draw a robot in 3 seconds. You can use pressure-sensitive Wacom tablets. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's the one that's offered this Friday. And then there's 2 more digital drawing classes that are offered on 2 more Fridays of this month. The next one after that is Inkscape, which is vector art, and I'll tell you what that is if you don't know. And with Inkscape, you can actually take flat images and you can bring them into 3D software programs, and you can extrude them out and actually 3D print your once flat images into the 3D printers. So it's not just for graphic design, it's for also 3D printing forms. And then the end class of the month, the last Friday of the month at 10 a.m. to 11, I'll teach Krita. And Krita is a digital painting software program. It's the only one that's new to me, so all this month I'm going to be playing around with it in my spare time. And then any problems that I have, I'll steer you away from them so you'll enjoy the software quicker. So let me get back to the 3D printing courses. I'm going to go quickly through all 12 of them. The first one's going to be a little long-winded, and the rest will be very zippy. So Cura, I show you to import a model. You can right-click your model. You can duplicate it easily. Just input your number, and you can 3D print 10 robots right away. Rotation, if you hold Shift, it'll rotate by 1 degree. And again, I'm not showing you all the tricks. These are just some cool highlights. Now the mirror button, it actually flips your model if you need to do that. There's a preview that shows you the layers, what it's going to look like when it 3D prints. They also have a Minecraft button, so you can actually pull geometry from your Minecraft world and 3D print it here at TechKnow. And it's super easy. You click on your world, you click the player button, it loads in, and then you right-click and drag a rectangle selection, and then it pops your model up on the Cura software, and you're ready to 3D print. Now, there's an extra thing that I learned because I spent so much of my free time doing this. And this I'm quite proud of because it's not in the manual for Cura, and it's not in the buttons when you click all the buttons. I've discovered that you can 3D print images, flat 2D images. What you need to do is you can take a JPEG or a PNG, you can drag it into Cura's workspace, and this pop-up menu pops up. This is the only way I know how to get to it. And it gives you two choices. Darker is higher or lighter is higher. I suggest that you set smoothing to heavy. And when you click OK, you'll have your 2D image that can be 3D printed. And I have no idea why don't they sell this, because it's a cool feature that I came across accidentally when I was trying to import different kinds of 3D object files. Some 3D object files come with image files that add color to them and texture. Okay, I wasn't touching it that time. My hands are up here. You got the magic touch.
I got two more options.
So when you take a class with me, it won't be super fast like I'm talking up here. I'll slow it way down. It's another thing I want to point out. I'd be so happy if that was the solution.
Well, if you just stop breathing.
I think it's going to work.
Well, it's got to cycle through over there first. So. You could also be the cable.
You got plenty of those.
Oh, here we go. I mean, there we went. Oh, okay. Don't start talking yet.
Yeah, after this, I don't have to have the projector working.
Okay.
Okay, so I do want to show you the contrast between the lighter is darker and the darker is lighter JPEG image. So I'm going to drop another image on. Do heavy smoothing or it gets all jaggy. It looks like glitch art, which isn't cool for 3D printing in this case. So lighter is higher, and click OK. I mean, so you can take a 2D image and have two completely different looking things 3D printed. So those are some things that I'll share, like the tips and tricks. I did want to show you one thing with GIMP while I do have the projector working and up, is when you come to my GIMP class, you're going to learn right away that there's a better way to start GIMP. When you first open a GIMP, when you download it from home, it gives you 3 windows. And this looks confusing. Why do you want to drag 3 windows around and move them around? I guess if you have a photo reference you want to work from, that's great. But first thing I do is I click Windows and go to single window mode. And this might be more comfortable for you to do in GIMP. That's just another one, and a little tip I wanted to throw in there. So I'll go through my courses, my 3D printing summer courses. And then I'll give some people a quick demonstration, like 2 minutes on digital sculpting and like 2 minutes on alchemy to really sell the classes, to show you how cool it looks. And then I'll be done. So this Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 is Thingiverse Immerse. It is, Thingiverse is an online, I guess, place where there's thousands and thousands of models that have already been made. So you can download them and 3D print them. I mean, I'm sure you can go home and figure that out on your own, but Thingiverse is huge. There's actually tools inside of Thingiverse where you can create original artwork from scratch. It's just not a place to grab a model and print it. So I'll show you how to use some of those tools. Trophy and Tinkercad. Tinkercad is a web-based CAD program. Everything saves on the cloud. You just open up an internet browser. It's free. All these are free to use. It's very easy to use. You start off with primitives, which are forms like a sphere and a cylinder, and you start putting them together, and you can make really complex things. This is my Tesla trophy I made. And you can get, very complex with just, starting off with simple forms. The next class after that is 3D scanning for 3D printing. The reason I started off with a Thingiverse class where you can download models from the internet, and then a Tinkercad class where you can make your own models, and the third one, scanning. Those are the three major ways you can create models for 3D printing. So I wanted to get you up and running with 3 different ways to 3D print or get geometry for 3D printing. So the 3D scanning for 3D printing class, I'm going to teach you how to use our desktop 3D scanner, which is our matter and form. You put your object on the turntable and it scans it for you. I'll show you how to use an app for scanning objects, a free app. And I'll show you how to use an Xbox Connect, which I hook up to this computer and use free software. With the Xbox Connect, I've actually scanned Matt Bathke. He's in here. I did a color scan of him. I had him sit in a chair and we just spun him around real slow and I scanned him. And the reason I would teach the color scanning with the Connect is that we can send it away to an online bureau and have a color print of Matt, a color 3D scan. I don't even need that anymore. Fall into Blender. That's the next 3D printing class. Blender is my favorite tool because it's the most empowering tool. It also has the hardest learning curve of anything I've learned in digital art. I'll show you where the buttons, how to simply rotate and scale. They don't give you big buttons to push, and I'll tell you the shortcuts for those. And I'll tell you where the special 3D printing buttons are. Blender is made for special effects in film, for animation, think Pixar animation. It's made for physics simulations. It's made for video editing. It goes on and on and on. It's a creative suite. But I'm going to focus on the essentials of moving around, creating models. And I also use it to turn OBJ files into STLs and DAE files into STLs. From broken to 3D print fixed is a class that I teach you all the tricks I've learned on how to measure a part that's broken and get it 3D printed so you can fix a broken part at home or at work. I'll just show you one of the tricks that I learned is that you can actually take graph paper, and if you have a flat side to a broken piece, you can take an ink pad and stamp it, and then stamp that broken piece onto that graph paper, and then take a picture of it and put it as a background in a 3D program. And then you can basically, with vector art, you can trace it and extrude. That's one way. I'll show you some other tips that I've learned with measuring and fixing replacement parts. I'm excited to share. There's other tricks, but I don't want to give all the tricks away tonight. Digital sculpting with Sculptress. That one's a lot of fun. Use this, and it's a pressure-sensitive pin. You work with a ball of clay is where you start off with, and then you can form it into any organic thing that you want. It doesn't have to be organic, but it's most likely going to be organic in Sculptress. That's how the Incredible Hulk is made for movies these days. Sculptress has a pro version called ZBrush, and they sculpt the Incredible Hulk and then put the Incredible Hulk in those Avenger movies. They rig them up and light them up. The next one is manipulating the mesh mixer multi-tool. That's middleware. I've never heard of middleware before. It's not software, it's not slicing software, it's in between. With mesh mixer, you can fix holes in your mesh and your geometry. You can do some creative things to your mesh. I modeled a bishop chess piece, and then there's some settings that you can adjust with some sliders, and you can make your whole 3D print made out of bubbles or out of horizontal discs, or it kind of goes on and on. You can drill holes through your model just with a few clicks. This is taking something once you learn how to model something, that's fun, but this takes it to the next level where you can get really creative and artsy with your designs. This is something I did in Mesh Mixer. Now, if I were to do that manually with a mouse, that would take forever. So basically my classes are about working smarter, not harder with your designs. I guess this one was done in Blender, but beefy muscles in my bishop. Get in shape and stay in shape ways is the next class. Shape ways, I'll teach you how to use their tools and why you would use Shapeways. Shapeways has uber expensive color 3D printers, industrial 3D printers that we don't have here. And all you have to do is upload your model that you make. You can design it here at home. And if you do a certain model that has color files, they'll take it and they'll 3D print it in color for you. So these are houses that I built in Minecraft and had them 3D printed at Shapeways. I actually used a different company. I designed my skin, Minecraft skin. This is your character. I did the pixel art on the character. And then an in-between company sent it off to Shapeways and then had that 3D printed too in color. I can take something like this or even this wireframe and they'll print it in metal. They have all sorts of different kinds of metal. They'll print this in gold if I have deep enough pockets. They'll print this in gold if I have the cash. One of the cool ones that I would like to do someday is I'd like to make a mug, a digital mug, and then send it to Shapeways and they'll 3D print it in porcelain. Food safe ceramics is another thing they do. And I'm not even telling you all the materials because it's a long, exhaustive list. The next class is OpenSCAD, A Programmer's Paradise. This is different for me because I'm used to clicking and dragging in a 3D space. OpenSCAD, you use some lines of code to create your geometry and your models. So it's a little bit of programming. It'll be very introductory. And then the next class is ABCs of 1-2-3D design. 1-2-3D design is a step up from Tinkercad. Tinkercad is one of the first, actually the first class I learned and I teach you to 3D model. 1-2-3D design actually has a lot of the same stuff in it. It's the same company made both, but 1-2-3D design has some cool tools that none of the other software has, software lessons that I'm teaching. And then the last class, just before school starts, is post-processing PLA prints. PLA is the material that we use at TechKnow. It's the plastic. These are filament in PLA. There's different kinds of plastic, ABS, and so on. There's different ways you can paint them and sand them that will work great, and I'll tell you the tricks for that. Because you might not want to just have a solid color print. You might want to take something like this and paint it and do some hand work on it. So that'll be the last class. I even have beyond the summer, I have fall classes lined up with great ideas of different things. I'll just share just one time-lapse video for 3D printing. I'll show you an app and a quick way how to hang your smartphone on the side of a 3D printer and show you the settings to do a time-lapse video where it looks sped up. And I've got more classes that coming down the pipeline. So those are my 3D printing classes. In July, there'll be some Minecraft classes for kids. I know we're talking about TechKnow having Raspberry Pi classes and soldering classes, not all taught by me, but different people. And I'm sure we'll have other teachers come out of the woodwork that join TechKnow that want to teach a class in something pretty incredible. It doesn't have to be digital. Electronics is real cool, and it doesn't have to be electronics either. So any questions? I know that was really chatty and long-winded.
So my background is in AutoCAD
Yeah.
and Inventor or SolidWorks and whatnot. How relatable is that to what you're talking about?
If that's what you want to stick with, you can stick with that.
Can I take my SolidWorks model and reprint it?
You can bring your export an STL file or OBJ. Yeah. You don't have to learn what I'm teaching you to use our stuff. I'm not telling everyone to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm just kind of offering, like, if you want to learn a new tool, come and see me. But I know lots of people know lots of different programs. You can even probably teach one if you wanted to down the road. Yeah. Okay, so I'll do a really quick demo with Sculptress, like 2 minutes, and Alchemy, like 2 minutes, and then I'll be done. Sound good?
Yeah, we're just going to end the video.
Okay.
So thank you, Toria.
Hey, thanks.